The Supreme Court's landmark ruling dramatically changed how states regulate carrying firearms for self-defense outside the home. The decision struck down restrictive concealed carry permit laws in several states, declaring them incompatible with the Second Amendment. It established a new legal framework, shifting the debate from whether people can carry guns in public to how and where they can do so. Gun rights advocates hailed it as a restoration of constitutional liberty, while gun control supporters warned it could increase gun violence. The ruling forced states to rewrite their laws and sparked a wave of new legal battles over the limits of gun regulation. America now faces a new era of uncertainty, as courts and lawmakers grapple with the implications of this sweeping decision. The case that would ultimately reshape the national conversation on gun rights began in the heart of New York. In a state known for its strict firearm regulations, two ordinary citizens found themselves at the center of a legal battle that would reach the highest court in the land. Robert Nash and Brandon Koch, both residents of upstate New York, applied for unrestricted concealed carry permits, hoping to legally carry firearms for self-defense as they went about their daily lives. However, their applications were denied by local authorities, who argued that neither man had demonstrated a special need for protection beyond that of the general public. This denial was rooted in New York's proper cause requirement, a legal standard that forced applicants to prove a unique, exceptional need for self-defense. The rule, which traces its origins back to the Sullivan Act of 1911, had long been used to strictly limit who could carry concealed firearms in public, making New York one of the toughest states for gun permit seekers. Nash and Koch, feeling their rights were being unfairly restricted, joined forces with the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. Together, they argued that the proper cause standard effectively turned a fundamental constitutional right into a privilege granted only to a select few, undermining the Second Amendment's promise. Their case wound its way through the lower courts, where judges consistently sided with the state, citing the importance of public safety and the state's long history of regulating firearms. Yet the Supreme Court's landmark Heller decision in 2008 had left an important question unresolved. Does the right to keep and bear arms extend beyond the home, into the public sphere? The Bruin case gave the Supreme Court a direct opportunity to address this question for the first time in over a decade, setting the stage for a potentially historic ruling. As the case gained national attention, New York, supported by gun safety organizations and many public officials, defended its law as a necessary safeguard for public safety. Meanwhile, Nash, Koch and their supporters argued that the law left law-abiding citizens defenseless and eroded a core constitutional right. With both sides deeply entrenched, the stage was set for a major constitutional showdown, one that would have far-reaching consequences for gun laws across the country. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court struck down New York's proper cause requirement, declaring it unconstitutional. Justice Clarence Thomas's majority opinion established that the right to carry a handgun in public is protected by the Second and 14th Amendments. The court introduced a new history and tradition test. Modern gun laws must align with historical firearm regulations from the 18th and 19th centuries. This new standard invalidated discretionary permit systems, requiring states to issue permits to anyone meeting objective criteria. Dissenting justices warned this approach ignores modern realities and limits states' ability to address gun violence. Despite objections, the ruling set a much higher bar for gun regulation nationwide. Supporters of the Bruin decision see it as a vital affirmation of the Second Amendment, ensuring ordinary citizens can defend themselves in public. They argue that restrictive laws unfairly favored the privileged and that armed citizens can deter crime. Critics, however, warn that more guns in public will lead to more violence, accidents, and fear. They argue the history and tradition test is outdated, forcing modern society to rely on centuries-old laws. Gun control advocates cite data-linking permissive carry laws to higher gun deaths. The ruling, they say, ties lawmakers' hands and undermines efforts to protect communities. The debate remains deeply polarized, with both sides claiming the mantle of public safety. The Bruin decision immediately invalidated May-issue concealed carry laws in several states, leading to a surge in permit applications. Overnight, the legal landscape shifted, and thousands of people who had previously been denied the right to carry a concealed weapon suddenly found themselves eligible to apply. The impact was felt not just in courtrooms, but in everyday life, as citizens lined up outside government offices, eager to exercise their newly affirmed rights. Citizens like Maria in Los Angeles, once denied a permit, could now qualify under the new shall issue standard. For many, this was a moment of empowerment and relief, as the process became more transparent and less arbitrary. People from all walks of life, teachers, small business owners, retirees, joined the lines, each with their own reasons for seeking a permit. The change was especially significant in urban areas, where restrictions had been tightest. Law enforcement agencies faced backlogs as they processed thousands of new applications and rewrote procedures. Departments scrambled to hire additional staff, update training, and clarify the new rules for both officers and the public. The sudden influx of paperwork strained resources, and wait times for permits stretched from weeks to months in some places. States responded by designating more sensitive places where guns are banned, such as public transport, parks, and schools. Legislators rushed to pass new laws hoping to balance public safety with the Supreme Court's mandate. The list of restricted areas grew rapidly, sometimes with little public input or clear guidance. This created confusion for permit holders like David in New York, who found it nearly impossible to carry a firearm during daily life. Navigating the patchwork of new regulations became a daily challenge, with many unsure where they could legally carry. For some, the promise of expanded rights felt hollow amid so many restrictions. The right to carry, while affirmed, often feels limited by extensive gun-free zones. Permit holders must constantly check maps, signs, and local ordinances to avoid breaking the law. The sense of freedom that came with the Bruin decision is tempered by the reality of these new boundaries. These new restrictions have sparked fresh lawsuits, as gun owners challenge what they see as attempts to sidestep the Supreme Court's ruling. Advocacy groups have mobilized, organizing rallies, and filing legal challenges in multiple states. The debate over the meaning of the Second Amendment has moved from legislatures to the courts, and from the streets to the headlines. The legal and practical landscape remains unsettled. As courts weigh new challenges and states adjust their laws, both gun owners and the public at large are left navigating a complex and evolving reality, one where the boundaries of constitutional rights are still being defined. In the wake of the Supreme Court's Bruin decision, states known for their strict gun laws have responded swiftly and decisively. Many have expanded the lists of so-called sensitive places where firearms are prohibited, such as public parks, government buildings, and even certain private businesses. These new laws are designed to test the boundaries of the court's ruling and to keep guns out of spaces where lawmakers believe they pose the greatest risk to public safety. The debate has spilled out of legislative chambers and into the streets, with passionate protests and counter-protests erupting in cities across the country. This wave of new restrictions has triggered a surge of legal challenges. One of the most closely watched cases is Woolford v. Lopez, which takes aim at Hawaii's sweeping ban on carrying firearms on most private property that's open to the public. The case has become a flashpoint in the national debate, raising questions about the balance between property rights, public safety, and the Second Amendment. Across the country, federal circuit courts have reached conflicting decisions on these issues, creating a patchwork of legal standards. This division among the lower courts has made it almost inevitable that the Supreme Court will have to step in and provide clarity on how far states can go in regulating guns after Bruin. Another high-profile case, United States versus Himani, is testing whether federal law can prohibit people who use illegal drugs, including marijuana, from owning firearms. With marijuana now legal for medical or recreational use in many states, the outcome could affect millions of Americans who find themselves caught between state and federal law. The courts are now flooded with nearly 3,000 legal challenges, targeting everything from bans on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines to age restrictions for gun buyers. Each case represents a new front in the ongoing battle over gun rights and public safety, and the legal landscape is shifting rapidly. The Supreme Court's eventual decisions in these cases will have far-reaching consequences, shaping the future of gun regulation in America for years, if not decades, to come. Legal scholars, activists, and everyday citizens alike are watching closely, knowing that the stakes could not be higher. The Bruin ruling has ignited a prolonged and deeply contentious legal war, with both sides arming themselves with new arguments, fresh strategies, and a determination to shape the nation's gun laws according to their vision of safety and freedom. The Bruin decision has deepened the divide between states, creating a patchwork of gun laws across the country. States like New York and California have responded with new restrictions and complex maps of gun-free zones, making compliance difficult for residents. In contrast, states with permissive gun laws, like Texas and Arizona, saw little change. Bruin simply affirmed their existing policies. This divergence means a law-abiding gun owner could face felony charges by crossing state lines. The lack of reciprocity and uniformity has made travel with a firearm risky and confusing. Instead of national clarity, the ruling has led to more legal fragmentation and deepened cultural divides. The American gun debate is now more polarized than ever. The future of gun rights in America is uncertain, with more legal and legislative battles on the horizon. Supreme Court decisions in cases like Woolford and Himani will clarify the limits of public carry and who can own guns. These rulings could either roll back or reinforce the new restrictions passed by states after Bruin. For ordinary Americans, the legal landscape will remain complex and ever-changing. The patchwork of regulations is likely to grow, making it harder to navigate gun laws across state lines. The cultural divide over guns will only deepen as each side responds to new court decisions. The Bruin decision has shifted power from legislatures to the courts, making history a central factor in gun law. One thing is clear: the debate over gun rights in America is far from over.